despite what their moms told them. They just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe for the Believe Entertainment Network at Cuse Militias on the socials. Go there, join the militia. We're back for another exciting episode of Is This Really Basketball with Sean and Joe. It is the current state of basketball. JJ Starling's back. We'll talk about the 90-74 loss to Florida State at Florida State in Tallahassee yesterday. Some good, I got a montage. We'll hit that up real quick. We're going to get into the montage, I think, before we give our thoughts this time. We tend to get talking, and then the montage is like almost irrelevant.
Right.
So let's do this, and we'll do some fan feedback for just that game. So quickly, want to mention real quick about LaQuint Allen entering the declaring for the 2025 draft. A little bit of a surprise, but I kind of thought it was maybe a possibility, but I'd have to say I was probably 25-75 on it. However, that doesn't matter. LaQuint Allen's going to declare for the draft, and then we're going to have to fill that void. And we just talked about him last episode and possibly getting him back and things like that. So a little disappointing. He's got to do what's best for him. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I felt like he had another year worth of things that he could really work on and get better at, and just only increase his stock as far as the 2026 draft were to go, right, if he played one more year. So yeah, this sometimes is a little puzzling to me because, again, you see sometimes that people say this, but then sometimes they don't get an agent, and they don't get invited to the combine. So then it's like, okay, well, then I'm going to come back. So I don't know if that letter is 100% binding or if he has an agent or not. And then the other thing that I read into that too is it scares me of the whole, and again, I'm trying not to get my hopes up of Kyle McCord getting an extra year, because again, with his momentum, why wouldn't he even enter the NFL draft? But he has talked about thinking about it, and it's just, to me, if there was a good chance that Kyle McCord was coming back, then I feel like that would probably make it a little bit easier for LaQuint Allen to say, okay, well, then I want to come back and be part of that, right? So I'm not trying to read too much into it. Yeah, he had a great year, and sometimes you just have to go off of that momentum. I mean, 1,500 plus yards with his receiving ability, his pass blocking ability, and the fact that he had 20 combined touchdowns, that's just sometimes you need to use that momentum and get your butt in the draft. So, yeah, I think I never had a ton of faith in the NCAA granting Kyle McCord another year of eligibility. So I guess
I just hope that
has not changed for me. I hope that through this process, though, that if Kyle McCord does not come back, that it doesn't hurt maybe what was in the transfer portal for us as far as quarterbacks go, and what could be for Kyle McCord in the NFL if it's a late decision. I don't think that matters as much as it does affect, what kind of quarterback would be coming in next year. So.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you still have the spring transfer portal window, right? I mean, there's a lot of times where you get players that transfer, go through spring ball, see where they are in the pecking order, and then right after spring ball, they go and put themselves in the transfer portal. So, we might have lost the big fishes as far as quarterbacks this time around, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be some in there if need be. So, I think that we'll be able to figure it out one way or another. So I'm just hoping, I go down the whole trying to link two things, and I just hope that LaQuinn Allen going to the NFL and Kyle McCord's status is not linked, I guess. So that's kind of where
Right. That's keeping a hope, which is nice. But for me, my expectations are Kyle McCord will not be coming back. And I hope to be proven wrong. And the only reason I say that is because of it's in the NCAA's hands.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. I think it's better to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best, right?
Yeah. Okay. With that said, we've got a montage from yesterday's game. We'll play that. We'll give our thoughts on that game as JJ Starling returns back to the lineup, and some good. Some good. We'll talk about it right after this. Here's Coach.
I thought the first half one of our better first halves this year as far as, battling on both ends. I thought the second half, we didn't show up. Had some costly turnovers, some mixed rebounds that we did not get. Just too many turnovers, especially in the second half, some costly ones. And, we fouled. They got to the foul line 31 times, and we turned it over 15 times. And in transition, we had some opportunities that we just couldn't cash them in. I thought that was the difference, and they got some transition points. So I thought that was the difference in the game. We just have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. These last 4 games, we can't. It's going to be hard for us to do anything if we keep turning the ball over like this. So we got to do a better job of cleaning that up. That's on me. But moving forward, having JJ back, that was probably the best news we had. And again, not playing for a couple of weeks, I thought he gave us an injection, of energy, getting to the basket, create for others. And so, we just got to keep building on that. I was, Chris, I thought Chris responded well. His best game of the year so far, but, with those two things being said, with those two playing well and, playing better, I think, as we move forward, we just got to keep building. It's tough. I thought the score did not indicate how close the game was. I thought when we got to about 66-73, we just didn't cash in when we needed to, and we didn't get the stops and the fouls. We fouling, away from the basket. They got to the free throw line and the rebounded. Transition was a problem, but it was because we had some costly turnovers that we had to foul or we didn't get a chance to get back. Questions?
Why went the decision to take Chris out of the starting lineup? And as you said, he responded well. What did you say to him about that move?
I talked to Chris after the last game, and I thought we, me and him talked about it, and I said I thought he was, playing tentative. I thought he was, really worrying about, coming out the game, and I said, not trying to help. I'm trying to help, not trying to, build your confidence up. I thought, I said, what about getting ready to go into the game? I think that might help you. And I thought, he responded to that well. He had no issues. So whatever I need to do for the team was best for the team. And he's been great. The last probably 2 or 3 practices, he's been way more aggressive, taking way more shots. So again, that was something that we talked about, and I thought he responded well, and hopefully he can continue to do that.
So JJ comes back. He plays 32 minutes, which I guess I kind of expected, right? When you get your best player back, he's stayed conditioned and all of that. So I didn't expect a whole lot more than what I saw. I think it's going to take some time, for him to get back into the rhythm of things, and I think that's totally reasonable, right? So, I don't know where your expectations were, but after the first half, though, I thought that, they have a good chance to win this game, and the second half was just atrocious. And again, Coach mentioned defensive transition. That's been a problem all year. I didn't think it was much better. He blamed the turnovers, but obviously that's the problem. So 16 points off of 15 turnovers for FSU, and the glaring number for me was the 40 points in the paint for FSU, which is that can't be allowed. You got a mediocre shooting team. I think they were like 82nd or 83rd in the net before the win yesterday. So coming into that game, and just a mediocre team and a mediocre shooting team, and they shot above their averages pretty much everywhere. And they did a good job of getting to the line. Now Syracuse, with that said, Chris Bell gets taken out of the starting lineup, and lit a little bit of a fire under his ass. I mean, for me, it's about, well, is Chris Bell gonna be consistent there? Is that gonna work? Does he just get back into the lineup and continue doing what he's doing? But 4 for 4 from beyond the arc, I thought was really good. It's the Chris Bell that we're used to seeing, that we saw last year. And one thing that Coach said that I was impressed by, because sometimes it doesn't look like Chris Bell's totally engaged, or is maybe, I don't know, like body language wise doesn't always look great, but he did, Coach said, whatever I got to do to help the team, and, then we're going to do it, wherever you need me, however you want me to do it. And then that's what I'll do. I think that's big on him to do, and then come out with a little bit of extra, initiative, a little chip on his shoulder to come out and, score 18 points,
Yeah.
And no turnovers for Chris Bell. So, and he played 22 minutes. That's the Chris Bell we need. You get Chris Bell like that, you get JJ Starling back going again. Eddie Lampkin gets a little bit more consistent. Kyle Cuff has been doing what he's been doing kind of every game for the past 3 or 4 games, and he's coming on. And so, I mean, it kind of, there's a little window of hope there. There's still a little glimmer for me. The one thing that, is problematic is that Syracuse is at the bottom of the ACC now. And if they don't climb out of it, you talked a lot about getting into the tournament and all that stuff, right? And being able to
make a run
in the tournament, but you got to get into the tournament first.
Yeah, right. And I think that's the problem.
And how many teams are getting in out of 18? Was it 18, right? How many teams are getting in? 16, 15?
I don't know if it's,
well, it'd have to be, hold on, it would have to be 15, right?
I think so. I don't think that they are actually, I think they're keeping the bracket and everything the same. So I'm presuming that it's just the, 3 teams, because we just added 3 teams.
Right.
So when we added those 3 teams, they said, okay, but we're still keeping the same template. So the bottom 3, you're not even going to the tournament. And
right.
Yeah. So I see where you're going with that.
To the ACC tournament.
Yes.
We're talking about, just to be clear. Yeah.
Yes. The ACC tournament. Yes.
15 of the 18 conference teams will make the tournament.
Right.
So, yeah. It was exactly what you said. Right now they're in those 3 that are out. So That's our first hurdle to jump. If you're a Syracuse fan, that's where, 0-3, look, it just started 0-3, not good, but it's, I guess we'll see. There's some other teams that aren't good. The whole ACC as a whole isn't great.
Well, I know, but as I start watching more of these games, Wake Forest looked pretty good yesterday. Another team that's impressed me.
SMU looked okay.
Recent was Louisville, huh?
SMU looked pretty good.
Well, didn't they get beat by Duke pretty good?
They did, but they looked okay doing it.
Yeah, I know. And Notre Dame got Marcus Burton back, and they almost beat North Carolina. Clemson looks good. I think Louisville looks pretty good right now. So yeah, there's definitely got to be growth, and I felt like there was, and we talked about this, there was in the beginning. JJ Starling got hurt. I still think there's 2 or 3 games out there that if JJ Starling plays, we win. But that doesn't matter anymore. JJ Starling came back. He came out, hit 2 really big threes, and then the next thing you know, he only ends up with 6 points off of 16 shots. But what I did see different lineups. Jaquan Carlos played 20 minutes. I don't know if there's a game that he's played even close to that. Maybe one of the earlier ones, but ever since, especially JJ got hurt, That dude's out there almost the whole game. So I see more confidence with Kyle Cuff and, Mastorovic, him going in there and getting, he had 5 offensive rebounds. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, his name's not Donnie Freeman or Jair Franklin or Eddie Lampkin, but if those guys aren't getting rebounds, then they got to figure something out. I mean, it's Eddie Lampkin had five rebounds in 18 minutes. Jair Davis had 4 rebounds in 21 minutes. Peter had 7 in 13.
And Donnie Freeman, to be fair, it's another double-double for Donnie Freeman. I think it's like 6 or 7.
And the thing is to me, the thing with Donnie is he's okay. So he's a 5-star, and every single time the game starts, people are talking about players in the game and they're showing, he's a 5-star possible NBA prospect, this and that. And, we've seen him make mistakes. And I think the expectations for him are so high that like you said, another double-double. And like, when I watch the games, like it's a quiet double-double. You know what I mean? It's not like he's out there dominating, but it ends up looking, if you look at the box score, it's like, oh, damn. So now that JJ's back, I think I saw a little bit of better energy. And I think Lucas Taylor and Kyle Cuff, I think that they've been getting a lot of confidence since they had come off the bench the last couple games. And I think that those guys might end up being staples in this lineup. I think that that's the one thing that I respect about Coach Autry is that at the end of the day, like, he's going to play who's out there, who's trying, right? I mean, Elijah Moore has started a couple games and was like, up until a couple games ago, the first guy off the bench, and he only played 3 minutes. So it's apparent that we have to figure out our defense. That's kind of the one thing that stood out to me, like you said, points in the paint, and obviously how many times they went to the free throw line. And then our turnovers. So that's the game, right? We shot really well from 3-point land that we haven't done.
Best all year, I believe. I mean, there's no way. I don't remember him hitting 10 3-pointers all year. So
that's, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's fair. I mean, 31 free throws to 17 free throws. I thought the officiating was a little weird. I thought they'd just let him play, and then at some point they changed it up a little bit. And I don't know. But I'm not going to sit here and argue that. I mean, that wouldn't have mattered. And moving on to Chris Bell, honestly, this could have been the best thing for him. Maybe he has, with JJ out and with being, a captain, going to ACC Media Day and stuff like that, maybe Chris Bell just felt too much pressure in the starting lineup. And I think that he definitely has a little something with JJ Starling, because I think that JJ Starling is one of those guys that can kick out, can drive and then kick out and pop it out to him when he's more open and get him better shots. Plus, JJ Starling is another option, or another offensive option that takes the defense away from Chris Bell. And when JJ is not there, then Chris Bell just gets the whole, don't let that guy shoot a 3. So whether he comes off the bench or whether he starts, that's the Chris Bell that we expect. And if having him come off the bench gives him less pressure and more of I'm going to come off the bench and do my thing, and it helps him mentally, then I don't care if he comes off the bench or not. If he plays, as long as he plays like that. I don't expect 4 for 4 every game, but you know what I mean. It felt good to finally watch 3-pointers go in for him yesterday, even though we were losing.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, 40% is pretty good, but they took a lot. They took 25 shots from behind the arc. I mean, that's a little too much. I mean, if you think about getting killed in the paint, I mean, many of those were one and dones, right? So, second chance points, 6 for Syracuse. Now, FSU wasn't lighting it up. I think they had 8, but still, those could have been 2. Those could have been inside the paint points that we were lacking. And that's where they've kind of buttered their bread for the past couple years, is really in the paint. So
yeah. And I mean, we had 0 fast break points.
Ooh, pathetic. Yeah. I didn't even know that. That's not good at all.
Yeah. So
the Syracuse teams of old, man, made their money on fast break points. The old zone when it actually worked, You know what I mean? Like the up
Yeah,
tempo.
but even when they were playing, even when they had the Colemans and even the Autreys, and like there was times where those guys played man and zone back and forth too, but they were going. Like you said, it was up and down, go, go, go.
Oh, it was high energy, dude.
Well, and you can see Adrian Autry's trying to get him to push it, and just the guys it's like, again, it's something as simple as just dribbling the ball sometimes down and doing a fast break.
JJ dribbled off his foot again. He did that before he got injured too. Now, like I said, I'm giving JJ a break for a couple games. He's got to get into the swing of things. So
well, and you got to figure stuff out too, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you saw it, but it was very obvious that he was favoring the right hand, and even dribbling in the first half and everything. You could tell that he wasn't necessarily comfortable even really dribbling through certain places. So you can tell he's still protecting that hand. And there's a couple times that Florida State they realized that and made us pay. So I'm glad he's back, but also like if he's not 100%, like we can't put him in a position to where he's going to hinder us too. And we're just complementing offense for defense, because he's a great defender too, but we've talked about our defense. It's a little less to be desired. They still have to figure out their rotations and all that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, at what point in the year is it? Well, I guess whatever. Never mind.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying. I know what you're going to say, so I'm not even going to bother asking.
Right.
So here we go.
Gotcha.
This is whatever. I don't even feel like talking about it.
Nope.
And here's the thing, dude. Like, no one wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to air their grievances. I mean, we got a bunch of that on social media, which is just it's fine. But it's disengaged. People are disengaged. I mean, people I know personally are not even. I receive so many less text messages through these games during basketball than I do football. Your run-of-the-mill average fan is just not engaged in any of this. And, I'm not sure if that's... Like, Florida State's not terrible. They're a mediocre team. Did you notice their attendance yesterday? Not great. Like, no. This is FSU, guys. This is
not a basketball school.
Not a basketball school, but, dude, they would normally be pulling more than that. I mean, there was nobody there.
Yeah, I mean football team.
This was bowl game status attendance.
Football schools, yeah, I know. Football schools, they tends to be a situation where to get those fans excited, I mean, you got to talk about being like ranked and stuff like that, right? So,
well, Florida State hasn't exactly been slouches. I mean, last year wasn't great, I don't think, but historically speaking, the last decade, they haven't been terrible. So, you got that whole Leonard Hamilton issue too with the NIL and all that. That's a mess. So, no fan wants to have their coach be involved in some stuff like that. So, anyway, all right, let's take a look at Twitter and hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the loud.
All right, you guys know what to do. Ask for your thoughts on the game. You give them. We talk about them here through X and Facebook. I didn't mention Facebook a second ago, but I did post on there. So, it was
social.
And I haven't been here to look. So I'm just going to start at the top. All right. And again, I got that damn static. Okay. At Keller0103, our buddy Zach. Peter. 7 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, 5 fouls in just 13 minutes. I love this guy, he says. Yeah, man. Effort. I like him too. And you got a guy that's going to go out there and get dirty and get down in the mud. He's got fouls to give for the most part. That's a good thing. He's I think he's going to develop, and I think he's going to be good. He's like you always have that one guy that's like kind of like that you root for. We've talked about this. This. It was like mine was Billy Sealick back in the day, and the fans loved him. And Mark. I mean, Mark did things that nobody would do. Guys twice his size wouldn't do.
Ojanot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
JB Reef Snyder.
Yeah, Reef Snyder. That was my mom's guy. She loved Reef Snyder. In fact, I had his autograph somewhere. She's seen him at Spira's one day out there in Cicero and got his autograph. Yes, I'm with you, Zach. Level up, Luke. The Ravens look like the real deal. That's where most of the fan base is at. At MC Dendis. At least they made some threes tonight, but still missed free throws. This team just doesn't have what it takes to win. It looks like they might win 12 games this year if they're lucky. No more easy games left. I mean, there's a couple of games left that aren't necessarily easy. I don't think any of them are going to come easy, but I mean, you're in a group with, between Virginia Tech, Boston College, Cal, and Miami, all sitting at the bottom of this thing. That's going to be your fight for the 15. And, that's obviously going to change. But Notre Dame lost a close one yesterday. I think they're better than where they're sitting, if I'm going to be totally honest. And everybody knows my hatred for that team. Yeah. So, they kind of got the shaft yesterday, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm being honest, man, to have that game be called that like that at the end, I thought was atrocious. So if you're going to call, if anybody saw it, down by 3, Carolina comes down, hits the 3 and gets the foul. Okay. Let's say the foul is legit. Well, Notre Dame comes back and releases a layup with time on the clock as it's expiring. A foul there, not called. So, I mean, whatever. That's your blue blood ACC officiating for you. But anyways, I digress. My point is that, there aren't any easy games, but there's winnable games. And, yesterday I thought Syracuse had a very legit shot of winning that game. Like I said, after the half, that disappeared for me. But they played a good first half. Now, you got to play 2 halves. It's like, we're, what? How many games into the season are we? 11? How many? Oh, 14? We're past that, yeah. 14? Okay. So, you got to play 2 halves. I mean, we're 14. This season is almost half over. So,
doing great.
And it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it because every time there's a game and we come here and we talk about it, we're like, well, we just give it time, give it time. Holy shit, man. Like, the time is up. The clock has expired. Like, let's get, right now, where we're sitting and what we're talking about is them just getting into the top 15 of the ACC, and that's where we're going to have to focus our attention until that happens. And we're going to be biting our nails down to the bitter end of it. So, at David Super, my interest is the lowest it's been since late 1990s when I became an Orange fan. Forgot they were even playing today until I saw at Cuse Militia's tweet about JJ warming up. I'm not angry about the current state of this program, just dejected. Maybe I'm a bad fan for not watching. See, here's the thing. I think fans, and as much crap as I give fans, they can do whatever the hell they want because they're the fan. There's good fans, there's bad fans. At the end of the day, they're still a fan. Okay? It's not for me to judge good or bad. Everybody deals with everything differently. So you're not a bad fan. Okay? It's just maybe some of us are masochists and we plop our asses on the couch and put ourselves through it all. But like I said in the last show, I hold no severe emotional reaction to any of it, and I'm just gonna let it play out. It's just, it is what it is, and I understand people disengaging. I do. I get it.
Oh, dude. I mean, look, there's not every one of them is going to be a winner, right? As far as every year, but it's just the overall, just what this team has pretty much looked like since what? COVID?
I mean, yeah, it's been.
Years. It's
made
been tough.
That one run
right.
a few years ago. And then.
Well, it was Buddy Boeheim's senior year. It was a long time ago. 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was one before or after that. His senior year, he couldn't play in the tournament.
Then it was junior year.
It must have been.
That was when they got in the tournament and won the playing game, and then I think we went to the Sweet 16 or something.
San Diego State was one of the teams, and it was a big deal. Yeah. Remember all that?
Yeah, I think we lost or beat West Virginia or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But they played well. But that was it. That was the last time. And then we made it to. No, we didn't make it his senior year because it was the ACC. There was the ACC tournament, and when we went in to play Duke, that's when he couldn't play. He was.
Yep.
Had to sit out.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you're about right.
Yeah, so that's just kind of where they're at, and I think we're at the point now where we're at fatigue. I mean, look, isn't this exactly what happened from football? Right? I mean, people were calling for Pasqualoni's head. We were still winning 8, 9, and 10 games because they wanted a national championship, and it's just one of those things where be careful what you wish for, because then we went and we got somebody to where we were winning 2 games a year. So I would. There's a lot of, I'm not going to read every one of them, but on Facebook, there's a lot of, our boy Zach Shea, I'm ready for a proven coach. Gary Tompkins, another fine example of how far this once great program has fallen. 244 days until football season, new coach. Fran Brown won more games than Autry will this year. Stick a fork in them, they're done. They made the wrong coach decision. Trash. Like all that's like pretty much a majority of what you're getting for most people. And then you have a situation like Rising Fan. I don't even know that there was Rising Fan. There's Top Fan and there's Rising Fan. A Rising Fan, Ted Bratella, he said the first half turnovers were perplexing, notably the cross-court pass by Taylor. Love their hustle and spirit, but they lack team cohesiveness. I am just sort of blah and honestly don't pay attention much. Like that
sums up a lot of that sums up me in a way. I mean, I'm blah.
Oh, yeah, both
too.
of us.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I was all like yesterday, I was happy that JJ played and it was close and everything. And then it got to the second half and what I thought was going to happen happened. I think the only thing that I was pumped up about was seeing Chris Bell come back to life. And even with the 3-pointers that he was hitting, he was just barely keeping us within 8, 9, 10 points anyway. But my confidence of them being able to make that run and there at the end down 8, 9, 10 points was very low. Well, they got matched for a couple threes, right? And then you're like, okay, well, I can see how this is going to go because that's exactly what we didn't need. So once that happened a couple times, I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. Yeah.
Let's see. At Drew Cuse, well, JJ is back. Bell made shots, same result. Something ain't working. Yeah, like I said, for me, I'm not gonna tell a fan how to do it. But for me, I want to get a couple of games with JJ, and I'm gonna reserve most of my frustrating thoughts for, maybe after Boston College, because Boston College is a winnable game. If we go to Boston College and lose a week from yesterday, then I think that's my line right now. You lose at Georgia Tech at home, you lose at Boston College. I mean, obviously Louisville is on a tear. So,
yeah. I mean, now you're talking about, Louisville at home, Notre Dame
at home, which
at Clemson's going to be tough, and Pittsburgh is, I mean, they might be the second best team in the ACC or third best team in the ACC. So you're talking about, if we don't get anything with the next two, then you're talking about having to go to your West Coast road little matchup where, we play 2 games in 3 days or 4 days against Stanford in California.
Yeah, you got to imagine they're just going to stay there.
Yeah, it's like the January 29th and then February 1st are the games. So back to back. So, yeah, you start looking at it down the line and, you don't like to look all that way far down. But yeah, I mean, some of these guys that are talking about certain amount of wins, I mean, they might be right. I got one here, Donald Johnson. He said, as I said from game one, we will not win 12 games this year. And I was told I am not a real fan and got harassed. LMFAO told you so.
Who's that?
Donald E. Johnson Jr.
Oh, that's on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. So look, one thing I noticed looking at the rest of the slate is that the teams that are in the bottom that we mentioned earlier, we only play once, except for Boston College. We play Boston College twice. But the other ones we only play once. So the opportunity to play some of these teams that are already down there, like where we're at, is a little bit more limited than, it could be if we didn't add, SMU, Stanford, and California. So
yeah.
Let's see. At Durham Charlie. Don't care. Season's been over. Let me dig into this guy. Oh, I think his name's Charlie Durham. I think it's just coincidence. Oh. I said the handle is Durham Charlie, so I was confused by that. R Boris 9. I don't want to think about it. At Nate Short 015 Autry thumbs down. At Dan Gassetta. Since I enrolled at SU in 1984, this is by far the worst hoops team we've had. And No Blanchard 44. I don't think anyone is even mad anymore. The fans lost interest, including myself, looking forward to next season because it's a do or die for Autry. I think the fans are on a level where you're not seeing the normal level of frustration. You're just a lot of trash talk. At GMAC for president, pretty simple. Season's over, miss bad in the portal. Although I'm not really ready to give up on Red, that is a rare opinion right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to give up on Red. It doesn't look good, and overall talent and brand of the program is at an all-time low. Unfortunately, I think it gets worse as we go the rest of the way. A lot of that. So there are a lot of embarrassing sit Carlos.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's gonna be ones like that, right?
There was a game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that guy or girl, I don't know. I forget what his name was or her name, but I feel like you said, it's a very rare, but I think that's also a very logical and mature opinion as well, because in the day and age of NIL, with all the moving parts and almost like it being free agency, if you yes, you can blame the coach for missing in the NIL, but if you miss in the NIL, then that's your season, right? If we didn't get Kyle McCord, right? Mm-hmm. Or if Kyle McCord, if it comes out that he comes to Syracuse and now everyone realized that, he was only good because he was around the talent in Ohio State, then we wouldn't have had close to the season that we had, and it would have been a miss. So now in the day and the age of the NIL, I feel like we have to all be kind of on the realistic side of the fact that if it comes down to specific positions in football, or if it comes down to replacing 5 or 6 people in basketball with transfer portal, and you miss and you can't get that to gel and be cohesive and work, then that doesn't mean you need to make a coaching change. That you just missed. Right. So, I mean, that's and that's what you see all over the place. It's just, you like to see some positive, people are frustrated, Rob on Facebook, they have no ability to defend and get stops and have shown no real offensive cohesion. So they lost another one, not seeing anyone left on the schedule they can beat playing like this on both ends of the floor.
Well, they've been in a couple close ones against teams that I think are better.
So, 100%.
So without Starling. So like I said, the next 2 games is going to tell quite a bit about how this team moves forward. And, unfortunately, for JJ. There's not a whole lot of time. He's got a week before he plays Boston College at Boston College. That's that's the game I'm looking forward to watching because I think Boston College stinks.
Yeah.
And if we lose against a Boston College, then
I know I'm going to look, me personally, I'm at the point where I'm going to watch every game. Maybe not live, but I also am at a point where I understand that there are a lot other people with other circumstances and busier lives than myself that I can understand as to why, I can't watch anymore. And at some point, I think there's going to be a game like that to where they cut it off, right? And if yours happens to be Boston College, then that's fine.
It is because of how bad they are.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's the it's the next game, the closest game to us that is going to be more of on our skill level, I guess. Georgia Tech ain't much better. So both of those games, I think, are very relevant for Syracuse making the ACC tournament, guys. That used to be a gimme. It's no longer a gimme. So what's that?
It wasn't automatic.
Yeah, it used to be automatic, and now it's not. So it's not a high bar to hurdle. You got to be one of the 15. You got to be 15th or better to get in. And,
right.
It's just doesn't seem like it should be that difficult if these other teams pony up and they get better, then that's going to be a problem for Syracuse because I haven't seen a whole lot. And I know they're having to overcome some serious adversity so far this season. It's stale. So if you are in the same boat as Joe and I, and maybe I guess I would like to say I'm on a little bit more on the optimistic end, just because it is a long season. We're not halfway. I think the writing's on the wall, but I guess just for the sake of trying to remain semi-positive, just because what the hell would it be if we just came here and just trashed them too, right? It's like that's not even fun to do. I wouldn't even bother coming here, right? So, there is a bracket on Twitter that Cuse Waterboy and some others put together, and it is the worst. I figured we could have been at least a mid to low seed in this thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
You feel a little left out, Joe? This is the worst Syracuse accounts on Twitter. Syracuse Twitter account tournament for the worst Twitter account.
Yeah.
And you know what? It could be a little disheartening if you are on this list. I think that they got a bunch of these right. A couple of these I'm not sure about. You mentioned Alex Sims before we went on. I don't really see a whole lot from Alex Sims. I think she's a Newhouse grad.
No, yeah. I guess my thing is I'm a little just.
You're just above me on the Twitter level. Like I don't go on Twitter. You go on it less. Is that fair?
Oh, that's very fair. And I saw it, but I don't even really know a lot of them because I don't just go through Twitter and kind of look at everybody and every Syracuse fan's hand. So, and I wish that there was a little bit more of a criteria as to why,
It's a group of guys that they put it together. They pick the people. There's some legit worst Syracuse Twitter account people on this list. Okay.
I get that. I'm just trying to figure out how did somebody get number one? Why is it that bad?
Oh, Joe, see, yeah, you're thinking too much into it. So here's how here's how you and I would know these people, and I handle Twitter when we do fan feedback. A lot of these guys are in the comment section of thoughts on the game. By the way, and it's kind of funny too because you've got 16 accounts and Cuse Waterboy put himself in there, okay, There's the Old Whites region. There's the Look at Me region, which Cuse Waterboy put himself in there. Rob Conrad's in there, which is like, it's the Rob Conrad thing's legit, dude. I mean, he's drunk texting and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, not that I don't like the guy. I just think his takes are not great. And he's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of, I don't think he said are outlandish a little bit. Then you got the I Have Sources region, which is great because Brent Axe is in there. So, I mean, it's funny. If you go through, I Don't Like Syracuse is another region with four other accounts in there. One of those being Sideline Syracuse. And by the way, I was in control of the Sideline Syracuse Twitter account for about 5 minutes until they realized, this guy doesn't ever tweet. So they just yanked the rug out from underneath me without even saying anything.
Right.
So, you know, they're moving on. Your Elite Eight is at BH Orange 44, which him and I have gotten into it. He's obnoxious. At Jeff Abramo, him and I have gotten into it. Alex Sims, who I hardly ever see her, versus Rob Conrad. Brent Axe versus Nick Quino, I think. 0629, who is in the comments quite a bit. I think he seems like a nice guy. I haven't had a problem with him. And then Sideline Syracuse versus Todd G. That's Todd G. 96. Todd.
I remember Todd.
Yeah, we all know Todd.
There's only a couple that I know, though. That's the thing. Like, I guess I just would like to know, like, what I don't know. I mean, I know that people go back and forth with Twitter and this and that, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, Alex Sims, like, I was just looking at it, and you know, she's an SU grad, but like, what constitutes as an SU, like a Syracuse like
account?
Twitter page? Yeah, because I just scrolled through it, and a lot of it is just her own personal stuff and about like dating and stuff like that. It doesn't even look like she even tweets anything about Syracuse.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go through her feed to check, but I'll say this: there's some legit ones on.
How am I supposed to know who to vote for if I don't check it out? You know what I mean?
Well, you just, like, she's going against Waterboy, and we all know he's lonesome, right? So just vote for him.
Just vote for Waterboy?
Yeah, well, actually, he lost, so he must not be that bad. He must not be as bad as people say he is. So it's Alex.
I figured with him, he would have wanted to win that thing.
It's Alex Sims versus Rob Conrad. I'm sure he was trying. Just he's too loved to get past the first round. Well, first of all, Joe, you're thinking way too much into it. It's just for fun. Second of all, you bring up a couple here and there that maybe should or shouldn't be on, right? It's all personal preference. I think they're missing some. I do.
Yeah.
I think they're missing some. There's a couple I can think of off the top of my head that should be in here that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But that if I made this bracket, it would look different. But
100%.
But a lot of these people would be in there.
It would just be nice to know the reasons and the whys. That's all.
I mean, I guess we could have them on and they can explain it if you want.
I went through it and I was like, I mean, I don't know this person. I don't know this person. So I was trying to actually like vote like, you know, unbiasedly. And it's like, well, okay, let me check out their Twitter thing. And then it's like, well, why is this person even on there if they're not even posting about it? Is it
just the one? Because it's got to be just the one. Because all these other ones, I feel like... Yeah, you're stuck on the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other one's definitely...
Maybe I'm sticking over there because she's cute, too. So I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But either way, it's a situation where, like, I don't know her.
Well, she unfollowed us, by the way. So she hates us now. So
guilty by I wouldn't say hate. I think it's just a guilty by association. She doesn't even know us. So
so did Jeff. By the way, he unfollowed us too. This dude.
I was reading something that somebody deleted their Twitter.
That was Jeff. He's back. He does that. He did that the last time. The last time him and I got into it, he deleted his account.
No, he took his ball and went home.
Took his ball and went home, and then came back, but with no balls. I'm just kidding, Jeff. I did. No. Full disclosure, he DM'd me, and I said, you know what? I'm not trying to have a piston match, basically.
About this? 'Cause we didn't even have anything to do with this.
Ultimately it was about this, but it was more so about the fact that he thought we were good, and I kind of went after him a little bit because just because I felt like he was, and he's not here to defend himself. So you know what I'm saying? This is just from my perspective. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth for some stuff way back that him and I got into it before. And then then this comes up and he's on this list. And now he just wants us to come together as Syracuse fans where, before when it was election time, right? Then everybody was fascist morons that didn't believe politically the way he believed. So long story short, look, I'm not in the business of getting on Twitter, and I even said this in the group text. Did I not say I felt bad?
Yeah.
I was disappointed in myself is what I said, I believe, right? So I got caught up in the moment. I got into it with him again. Sometimes, dude, I just can't. I just don't have that thing inside my brain that says stop. I just do it. Okay.
Yeah. Again, I look at this almost like texting, right? You look at it like texting where it's like you can't tell like intentions, tone, nothing. And realistically,
well, I think my intentions and tone were clear. And that's fine.
But again, at the end of the day, like it's easy for people to press send and hide behind a keyboard. And if you were to take it into real life and have a real life conversation, I'm sure that it would be a fine conversation. I'm sure you wouldn't be wanting to fight each other at each other's throats, and you just agree to disagree, right?
I've never threatened violence on Twitter. Also, there's nothing on Twitter that I wouldn't say to anybody's face either. Now, with that said, this is my personal account. I don't have a personal account, so this is my only account. With that said, you would be very surprised the level of discipline that I do have most of the time. Because
I'm proud of you for that.
Because there is not a face to this. There is a face to this. You could find our faces, by the way. But there's technically not really a face attached to the account. So plus you're on the account. This is our account, right? And it's our thing.
You technically kind of speak for both of us. And when you do some like late night tweets and I'm like not even on there, and then all of a sudden I'm reading this back and forth, and I just want to be like, I am not part of this.
There's been
I didn't even know about it.
There's been a few. I mean, I've even made Waterboy blush. So he jumped out of one. So, I mean, look, it's Twitter. Here's the thing in regards to this bracket.
Yeah.
It's Twitter. It's for fun. Look, we were in like the best we were in a bracket with the best Syracuse Twitter accounts, and we lost in like the second round. So, I didn't get offended by it.
Not great comments either, right? So
and, I mean, whatever. See, here's the thing. It's so much easier sometimes to be hated than liked. And here's why. The expectations when no one likes you are lower. And when people like you and you do what we do, because this is what we do, right? For fun.
Right. Yeah.
When you do this and people do like you, that's too much pressure for me. So if it's like, there's a large chunk of people that don't like us. And that makes things easier for me, Joe. Because we're just going to come out here and we're going to do what we're going to do. And some people don't like our takes and some people don't like us. And some people think
about you.
I'm a fascist moron, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I sleep well at night with everything we say on this show and with everything we say on Twitter most of the time.
No.
With that said, this is for fun.
Yeah.
It's for fun. You should enjoy it and just,
look at anything anyway.
It's whatever.
Look, this is the deal. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's essentially a triggering thing. Like, you could either make it playful or you could just get in your feels about it, right? Like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of back and forth going on with this, right? Like, you're actually getting a little bit of publicity for being the worst Twitter. Like, obviously you're not the worst because you're known, right? How many Twitter handlers of Syracuse fans and other places out there are garbage, but it's because they're not in the space and they're not in there doing the damn work. So of course, most likely none of these Twitter accounts are actually the worst Syracuse Twitter accounts, right? So at the end of the day, like you said, you just can't take yourself seriously or so serious sometimes.
That's how we've done this for 8 years. Have you ever taken yourself too seriously doing this show? And we put ourselves out there more than most, by the way.
What's that?
We put ourselves out there more than most. We're not professionals at this. We didn't start as professionals at this. Go back and listen. Like, some of it's freaking terrible.
Dude, I know.
It's just, who cares, you know? But this is a distraction. The whole point of this is it's a distraction from the day-to-day of basketball being over and football being over and basketball not being great.
Right.
So, you know, if you're going to piss and moan about basketball, this is something to take your attention off of it for just a few days, right? It's you know, you've got 2 more rounds left, and this thing will be over on Tuesday. And then you can all lick your wounds and carry on.
And then nobody will be none the wiser or care.
Right, exactly.
Not like you're going to lose thousands of followers because you lost some stupid little poll, right?
Or won it. I mean, Sideline Syracuse embraced it. They embraced it. They said, you know what? We want to win this thing. We're going to continue our debauchery. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I got to dig down. I'm still trying to catch up.
Okay, so let's see real quick. And then we got to move on. I just thought I would bring this up because it's very creative. Okay, look, you might not like it, and part of me wishes we were on here to see exactly how hated we were. But you know,
I went back and forth with it. Like in the text message thread, I kind of initially was like, I saw the worst and we weren't in there, and I was like, oh man, like at least we weren't in there. But then afterwards, I kind of felt left out. That's why I don't understand how these people are so upset about that stuff. Because when I initially saw it, I was like, oh man, well at least we're not even in there. We can but
we could have been a 3 or 4 seed in here.
I would have loved to, it's just more opinions and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So now I went from like, oh phew, like we're not in that, you know, to now I feel left out. You know, and now you got some of these people that are in this bracket that moved down to the damn Elite 8 and they're upset. I want to be in the Elite 8.
Yeah, I guess. I think it was oh boy. Yeah, this gets okay.
Yeah,
so there's
so you're seeing some of the stuff that I'm seeing. Yeah.
Okay, so we get into misogyny here. This is not in regards to Alex Sims.
Right.
But we get into some of that. Look, I'm trying to find the Syracuse Sidelines one, but I can't. So anyways, they said they wanted to win the thing. And, oh, here we go. He's replying to someone. I've leaned into my battle with these clowns. They would still have Dino higher if it was up to them. Actually, fans want a program that wins and just care about going to games and hanging out and drinking. Oh, that's a different one. Hold on. Damn, I'm not going to find it. Either way, Syracuse Sidelines, whatever this account is these days. Oh, here we go. I'm taking this title. It's mine. Being disliked, be the Cuse Waterboy squad is something I strive for. And Waterboy quote tweeted and said, this is the mindset of a champion. I mean, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some controversy going on. You know, we're not, you know, whatever.
No, yeah. No, I see this too.
What do you see?
Just like I looked at Syracuse Sidelines, and they actually, like you said, they posted the actual bracket and said, 1 seed, let's go. Anytime you're disliked by these crybaby blind Homer clowns, you are winning. And posted the bracket. So they were like bragging for being the 1 seed. Yeah. So what does this say? But Eddie Lampkin's burner, Sideline Syracuse has got to be a lock to win the whole damn thing, right? The Cuse guy, 88. Take Clearly, no one likes or respects anything you say. Plus, you argue with 98% of the Cuse fans on here. Hopefully, your superiors realize this and boot your ass. Like, there's a lot of go back and forth. But
I mean, at the end of the day, and we've already...
He owned it, but he owned it.
Well, yeah, it's fine, yeah. And here's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, and I can't believe we're still talking about this, but no. I feel like it's creative, and creativity deserves, at least a conversation here, because it's...
why we're still talking about it, because every single last podcast that we've done since friggin' basketball season that doesn't have anything to do with football is the same podcast over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. So, look, Brent Axe is kind of loathsome, There's people who... Syracuse personalities who followed us that unfollowed us for... probably things we said about Fauci or the jab or whatever. And then there's Syracuse sports personalities that just unfollowed us because they got bullied into it on Twitter. Donna DeToda, Chris Carlson, Mike Waters. In fact, I think Chris Carlson still follows us, but he might not now anymore. But, they were bullied into it on Twitter. So, there's others that, Chris Carlson doesn't follow us anymore. Whatever we said, we're not sorry. But, these people think that their shit don't stink, and Brent Axe is the epitome of that person, in my opinion. I'm not speaking for Joe right now, but in my opinion, Brent Axe has got to take this thing, because Brent Axe. Girls, find you a guy that loves you the way Brent Axe loves some Brent Axe. Okay? So, just,
oh, God.
And Todd, obviously.
I'm going for Todd. That's mine, because Todd. That's the only one that I've actually lived through personally. So, all the other guys, some of I haven't paid attention to. I don't know. It's weird. Like you said, you have people that talk outside of their mouth. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, maybe we shouldn't have brought up politics and this and that. But you know what?
It took COVID. It
definitely took COVID. But again, you're talking about an unprecedented time where there was no sports and we had to still find something to talk about. So that's what we talked about. And again, how many times did we preface like that? Like, we understand like that this is our opinions. We understand not everybody. And I just think that, you get Syracuse people that just unfollow you because of political stuff. Like, they just don't listen, like as soon as sports came back, we just went right back to sports. You know what I mean? But then these same people have their own thoughts on politics.
Right.
Like you said,
and they
can say it, but we can't. Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Stick to sports. Stick to Syracuse. You know what you're talking about. Well, it turns out actually we did kind of know what we were talking about.
A little bit, but they come off like they're just holier than thou, right? And that's the bugaboo, right? That's what's going to irk you. That's what's going to give you the ick about some of this stuff. And I think that unapologetically we say, like, again, we toe the line. We're really close, but we don't go overboard. We could very easily be in this bracket. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we could.
We could easily be in this.
It only takes like 50% of the people that are on this bracket to make this bracket, and we'd be on it.
Dude, yes.
Right? If Todd makes a bracket, we're a 1 seed. If Jeff makes a bracket, we're a 1 seed. If Brent Axe makes a bracket, he pretends like he doesn't know us. So
know us. He won't be on there.
So we won't be on there, which is fine too. So who cares? But here's the thing, like, if I've ever regretted anything I've said, I've already apologized for it.
Yeah.
So if you don't profusely hear me apologizing for stuff, then I don't regret it. I do have a filter, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Some stuff comes out of my mouth is ignorant, but just think about all the things that didn't come out. That's
I about a lot of that. Yeah, I know you personally, so yeah. It is what it is.
Anyways, it's fun. go there if you haven't already and vote. I think that voting starts at 8:00 each night. So for the Sweet 16 round, or excuse me, the Elite Eight round, you've got voting still going on. So yeah, check it out. Vote for your
look,
keep your favorite alive, which means don't vote for them. That's what I love about it. It's reverse.
Yeah, it's like reverse. So retweet it, get it out there, get all these guys, get them more, get them more followers, get people to check that stuff out more. That's what they don't understand, is that even through some little joke, you could actually get more people to follow you. So it is what it is. And at the end of the day, like you said, looking at where it came from and it just being for fun, it doesn't mean that if you win, it's real. It doesn't mean, promise you, there's going to be no trophy. You're not going to be put on a plaque. So I don't know. Unless Cuse Waterboy wants to start doing it annually. That's like a golf tournament or something.
Yeah, maybe we expand this thing, because I got some names I could throw on there. See, there's names I would throw on there that they will not, because they're maybe personal friends or whatever. Yeah. Or maybe not personal friends, but like friendly.
Right. Well, yeah.
More Syracuse personalities.
Right.
They use it. Mr. Tagger.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a biased like bracket based upon the person that created it. But like, just like you said, anybody else created it, then it would look completely different. And if we created it, it would look different.
Yeah, we got to get creative, because we did do, during talking about COVID, we did do, I think we did like best movies. We did
bands, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can get creative with this. I don't want to get personal with it.
Yeah.
However, I mean, I won't start anything like that doing what we do, but I'm willing to participate. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just being honest. Because no one knows really if you participate. And by the way, it's not a big secret of about who we get along with on Twitter and who we don't. So
just go and look and see who follows us.
Yeah. So anyways, we digress. That's about it. So just a little bit of fun added to, some awful basketball. And look, we're going to see. So probably a week from now, we'll be back. We'll have to, Joe and I will have to work that out, but we'll be back in about a week to discuss the Boston College and Georgia Tech games and hopefully pull a win out. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.